Hello everybody, my name is Alan from Sauber-Lab and today will be an audio video about NAS. And in this video specific, we're going to explain a little bit more about network. As the name NAS refers network attached storage, and the main point is the network. And that we're going to try to understand if it's worth for you to keep that 1 GB network, or it's necessary to upgrade for 2.5 or up to 10 GB, in which case that will be better for you and when you want to use most of this application, most of this service. So after this video, you at least will gonna understand a little bit more about it and will make a better decision for your application. So if you like this idea and want to learn a little bit more about it, we're gonna show in this video. But first of all, don't forget to leave your like, consider subscribe for the channel if you're not subscribed, and let's understand a little bit more about it. As I told, in this video we're gonna focus pretty much on your network and try to understand if it's really worth to upgrade this system and have a 10 GB network. So if you guys come here in my screen, first thing, it's worth to upgrade for a 10 GB network. First, let's understand what's the improvement that you can have. Have those three standards that you can buy, and it's easy to buy. If you go for a high speed, yes, you can buy it, but it's more difficult, more enterprise, and that will have some extra limitations. Let's say if I go for 1 GB, this one is the standard one. Everyone has this one in your house because pretty much all the switches will be based on 1 GB, at least the new ones. Pretty much all the computers will be based 1 GB. Your NAS potentially will be based on 1 GB. If you run a Raspberry Pi, will be based on 1 GB. And what it means, it's not necessary that you'll be able to download and upload at 1 GB per minute. It's around 110 megabytes per second that you can get. So if you get one, it's a 1000 divided for 8 will be around 1.5 megabytes per second in the best situation. It means that if everything's work 100%, we're gonna be these speeds, but not necessarily that is reality. If you go for 2.5, you're gonna have around 280 megabytes per second, and if you go for 10 GB, it's over 110 megabytes or 1100 megabytes per second. It means that it's 10 times faster. But what's the limitation for it? So let's say that we're gonna do a test, and that if you do the test will be these speeds. And you're gonna say, okay, of course I will go for 10 GB because it's fast. Of course it's fast. Yes, of course will be fast. But first thing, what system that is set up? So if I go for one hard drive, normally one hard drive will have a speeds of read and write around 150 to 200 megabytes per second. So if you consider this one, let me put only capital letter, HDD. So if I consider this one, what you're gonna have, if you have a 1 GB, yes, will work, and they will not get the maximum. You have a plenty of speeds, plenty of time, plenty of things that your hard drive can support until the bottleneck. But if you go for 2.5, yes, you can transfer up to 280, but the maximum speeds that they can read and write will be 200. Also, if you get, let's say, RAID 5, potentially the speeds for read will be a little bit higher, the write will be exactly the same, and you're not gonna maximize it, you're gonna have the limit. If you go for your system based on a SSD, yes, you can potentially maximize it because let's say a SSD can read and write around 520 megabytes per second. So yes, you can maximize it, but you cannot maximize the 10 GB. For you to maximize the 10 GB, you need to go for proper NVMe, and that this one you can get 720 megabytes per second. But remember, if you go for this kind of setups, you're gonna need to have a better CPU, you need to have a better motherboard, your lanes for motherboard need to be fast, everything needs to be set up to be handle these speeds. So have in mind, when you go for 1 GB, you don't need to get anything special. It's only you go for your normal computer, you have your normal switches, you do everything as normal, as a standard, and that will work. Once that you started to go for a high speeds, look like 2.5, then you need to consider a better CPU, a better hard drives or SSDs, and a better setup. But yes, you're gonna win for the speeds. You're gonna have high speeds that you can get compare for 1 GB. The same thing for 10 GB. You can have high speeds, but your system needs to support it. So if I go here only to have an idea, let's say about the cost. Let's only focus for the cost of your system, your network card and your switches. So if I go for 2 GB, 2.5, you're gonna pay at least £35 for each network card. Okay? Let's say that you have your NAS plus your PC in your house, you need to have at least you're gonna pay at least £7 only for this, plus a switch that you can pay around £90, let's say £90 for switch. So straight away, only for have this upgrade, you're gonna pay £160 only for you have 2.5 GB. It's good upgrade. Yes, I would say that it's quite valid one, because if you're gonna have 106 and that you're gonna maximize your hard drives, yes, it's worth to do it. If you go for 10 GB, the cost is already much higher. Let's put this one a little bit for here. For each graphic card or each network card, you're gonna pay for the same setup that you have. Instead of be 75 will be, let's say, 110, only to be easy for me. So you're gonna pay £220 only for have these cards in your system, plus let's say 300 for a good network card or switch. So basically you're already gonna pay 520 pounds only to have this setup to be able to transmit 10 GB. But not necessary that you're gonna be able to do it if your system is only based on hard drives. You need to have a system that's based at least in SSDs or NVMe ideal for you to maximize. If you go for 160, compare for, let's say, 2.5, yes, it's totally worth 160 to have all the setup, yes, not so much difference, and you're almost gonna maximize it. But if you go for 10 GB, you're gonna spend at least 4 times more, and if your system only have hard drives RAID 5 and continue on, will not make any difference. You're gonna put all this money out and will not gain anything. But let's say I really wanted to upgrade. So what kind of application, what kind of cases that will be better for me? So depending what kind of applications that you use. If you do backup, occasion backup, if you do media stream, if you do Office files, yes, go for 1 or 2.5, you don't need to upgrade at all. Only in the case that you really need to have a video editing directly for your NAS, what not necessary will be the best if you have on hard drive, because the latency will be quite slow. But if you need this, your NAS, yes, then you're gonna need a 10 GB. If you backup a really large files and all the time you start to backup these files and you want to speed up the system, yes, will make sense. Or if you have a lot of users. Let's say each user needed to download, upload, make a lot of access, move a lot of things around, yes, then will make the difference. Let's say that you have 10 users and that each user will use 1 GB, then yes, it's totally worth, because you can share 1 GB for each user, and every user will be download and upload around megabytes per second. What it's quite fast, and they will be able to enjoy quite a lot. But only in this case that will be worth. If you don't need, if you have your house and you have only yourself, your family, 7 people, let's say 6, 7 people, and all of those will use, but not necessarily that all the time they will be upload and download files, then will not make any difference. And if you don't need to necessarily to edit all the videos in your NAS, yes, will not make any difference. In my case, what normally I do, I get all the files, I make proxy for my videos that I'm gonna edit, and that I edit directly in the proxy, what use a little bit less data. Normally from 4K that I record, they will compact for 720 or something look like this. Of course, the quality is a little bit worse when you're looking for it, but when you export, you export in full quality, it's exactly what you want. And for you, or for my case, 1 or 2.5, it's more than enough 10 gigabytes, a little bit overkill for my applications, but if you want to spend more money and use it, yes, you can do it. But remember, you cannot only buy a 10 gigabytes network card. You need to buy a better system, more RAM memory, more hard drives, or NVMe at least, to make sense for this setup. In other words, 1 gigabyte will be enough for most of users. 2.5, it's a good upgrade if you can, because it will cost around 160 and you can enjoy much more of this speeds of your hard drive. Only if you really need the 10 gigabytes, it's worth this upgrade. At the moment, I will say no, unless you have a system only based with NVMe, then it's worth to upgrade for 10. Otherwise, you're gonna have high cost, but high speeds, but you're not gonna use all the speeds if your system is only based with hard drives. So please choose what fits better for your network and what fits better for your NAS, instead of only let's upgrade for 10 gigabytes because it's fast, but if you don't use everything, it's the same thing. You can buy lots of hard drives and you don't use all the space, so plan what you really need. So this way we arrive at the end of the video. I hope that you guys like this video. If you like this video and think that was interesting, please don't forget to leave your like, consider subscribe for the channel if you're not subscribed yet, and see you next time. Bye.